Welcome into the Keep Prowling podcast. I'm your host, DJ Beal, and I'm joined once again with Bahakel Sports Director Jeff Taylor. First things first, how's it been? It's been a long. Have we even started the season yet? Back when you came on?
No. I think the last time I was on, I ticked a bunch of people off because we did the
You did about
Mount Rushmore.
That's what it
and
was.
I didn't put Cam Newton on it. So I think I ticked some people off. So yeah, I haven't been on since they started.
And it's funny because, way back when there was a whole lot more expectation, a whole lot more intrigue.
Hope.
What's going to happen? Yeah, hope is another one. We're like, what's going to happen here?
Right.
Like, how is this going to go? How is this going to play out? There was new pieces. There was a new offense. There was a new quarterback. And now the Panthers are looking at 0-5, potentially 0-6, because they got the Dolphins who they face on the road, which is always a tough one. I mean, not to mention the start, but then to start out to end out a 6-game stretch with the Dolphins,
Right, and the fact that they got punched in the mouth by Buffalo.
Yeah.
Because everybody had Miami as kind of the one of the best in the AFC, and
Right.
then you get punched in the mouth by Buffalo, and now you're welcoming the Panthers. It's not a good combination.
They're probably a little angry.
They're a little angry, and I don't think they'll put up the 70 that they put up against the Broncos.
Oh, goodness.
That's a different ballgame. But
Yeah.
I mean, just not gonna be easy for them.
Yeah, and I think with the Panthers, I guess I want to pose a question to you all, but also to Jeff and me as well. Like, what's wrong with the Panthers? What like based on the expectations that we put out there early on, what is just not hitting the bullseye right now?
I think first and foremost, and any fan will tell you. I mean, new coach. We got rid of Matt Rule. And the disaster that he was, according to a lot of Panther fans and stuff like that. Everybody enters the season, 0-0. All good, and then all of a sudden we all come in with expectations.
Mm-hmm.
You've got your franchise quarterback. You've got a brand new head coach, so you got rid of Matt Rule. You've got some pieces in terms of Adam Thielen, DJ Shark. I mean, there's I'm getting at. So there, Hayden Hurst, right? You bring in those guys, and so I think the expectations are there, and expectations are a great thing, but they're also a horrible thing because the second you don't live up to those expectations, things get a little rough. So, in terms of what's wrong with them, you're talking to basically, we flipped the script on everything. It's a brand new team.
Yep.
So I don't think you can go. Although with that being said, some teams do it. A lot of teams will flip the script and go like this.
Yeah.
People are questioning, is Frank Reich, the right coach for the job?
Yeah.
I know people. Steve Wilkes was, there last. Should we have kept? So I think it's just we as fans have expectations, and there's those expectations when they aren't met.
Yeah, there's a little bit of uproar, and I think too. I think with a new offense, with a new quarterback, considering the offense played okay last year. They weren't lighting the world on fire. But,
No.
They got a quarterback that's more dynamic. They got more weapons. I guess you DJ Moore versus those weapons you have now. Maybe you say maybe they don't have more weapons.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like I think the biggest thing is really offensive production. Right, that's what's missing because defensively this team looks good. Now, last week against the Lions, I think it was rough throughout because you had big plays from the Lions, and that's something that the Panthers weren't really giving up. And if they were, it was at a bad time to the point where that's how you lose the game.
Right, and let's be real. I mean, Lions are a good football team.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Jared Goff. Say what you want and about his past or how past performance stuff like it.
Mm-hmm.
The man can throw the ball.
Oh yeah.
So, and that's a team that's going to make some noise in the NFC. Whether they'll make San Francisco 49er noise, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think that just, too, when we think about the Panthers, too, you cringe every time CMC scores. I mean, the man's just having an unbelievable season. Right now he's the best, maybe the best player in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see, it took DJ Moore a little bit of time, and Justin Fields is getting there, whatever. But so you see those two guys that have walked away, and you're like,
yeah.
Wow.
It's
so it's, Bryce Young, did we make the right choice?
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think, a lot of people want to make the comparisons to C.J. Stroud or make the previous comparisons to even like a Cam Newton or something like that. And Cam even put it out there. He was like, going to the team who has the number 1 overall pick is different than probably any other spot. Now, albeit the Panthers traded into the number 1 overall pick, so they weren't technically the number 1 overall pick squad. But the way they trade, we got to remember too, to get these draft picks, to get the number 1 pick, they basically created a team that officially had the number 1 overall pick. Right? If that makes sense. Like, basically, they traded top players to get the number 1 overall pick. That means your team, in fact, is weaker when you're going into that draft.
Right.
So, that's why they picked Mingo, because they needed wide receiver talent. That's why they grabbed Adam Thielen and Miles Sanders, because they needed those guys. They got rid of CMC and stuff like that. So, that's why you draft a rookie guard, in the first round, in the, I think it was like the third round or so.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you draft that guy, because now you have even more holes to fill. As if before you didn't really. I mean, you had, the team last year that was 1 or 2 games away from being in the playoffs, hosting a playoff game, winning that division.
Right. No,
it's not the same team as this team, and I think that's where the expectations were, though.
Of course,
the expectations were, hey, like, this team is 1 game away. They were right there last year. Why can't they be there this year? And the biggest thing is growing pains, right?
Right.
You gotta, you have to be patient with this team no matter how hard it is. And I know Panthers fans are in agony because they've seen this story before.
They have, and I mean, Matt Rule, when he came in, and he told the players it was going to be a 4 to 5 year, period to kind of get to winning and stuff like that. Maybe he was right to avoid. And I think what with the Panther fans, and I guess any team that has that number 1 pick, and we talked about it a little bit before we got recording here or whatever. I mean, here's your savior. Here is your guy who's going to take you to the promised land. Here's this guy who is going to be your, franchise quarterback.
Yep.
Everybody needs to breathe too. I mean, it's game 6.
Yeah.
And you're talking new coach and stuff like that. Reel it in a little bit in terms of, expectations for Bryce Young. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? And I think, people need to lose. Make people mad. You need to lose the Cam Newton deal a little bit in terms of, Cam was a different beast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, Bryce Young walks in, all the pressure in the world, and it's different between taking a quarterback at 1 and taking a quarterback in the 5th round.
Yeah.
In terms of, we talked about it, and we can go from here now. Does he sit for the year?
Yeah.
Do you let this guy sit behind Andy Dalton for a year and learn?
Yeah. I think that's tough, because I think at this point, especially in today's NFL, I think if you don't sit him immediately, it's hard to sit him now.
Oh, absolutely.
You've already thrown him out there. You've thrown him to the wolves.
Right.
This is the best learning experience he's going to get, is having Andy Dalton be there for him when he needs it. But it's not like, and that's the thing too, like, I don't think Bryce Young is playing badly. Right? When you watch him play, when he has time in the pocket, because that's an issue. When he has receivers open, because that's an issue sometimes.
Right.
When his receivers catch the ball, because that's another issue sometimes. Then he's able to be sharp. He's able to be the Bryce Young that we know Bryce Young can be. But I think there's other holes on this team, and I don't think they're named Bryce Young.
But at the end of the day, it all boils down to Bryce Young.
Yeah.
In the eyes of fans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm getting at?
I get that.
Now, here's my question, though. How old is he? I don't even know, 21, 22?
Probably 21.
So I get he's had moments, and then, of course, he's had not a lot of support sometimes from his weapons. But at the end of the day, and you can get up at a podium and say what you want, but as a 21-year-old in the NFL who could really go to 0-6 this weekend, and probably will, where does that start to wear on you?
Yeah.
Where does that start to, when you step on that field?
At every
right,
level.
Right. I mean, you Coach Saban in Alabama and stuff. At which point does it start to kind of wear on you a little bit to go, can I really do this?
Yeah.
Am I really fit to do this? Am I the right? Do you know what I'm getting
at?
Like
you start to lose confidence a little bit.
And it just chips away.
In the abilities that you have, you start to say,
Right.
not I don't believe in me, but I'm like, what's going on?
Right.
Mentally, you're like,
and
hey,
that's,
what is going? Like, this is not Bryce Young.
and we've seen quarterbacks in the NFL who,
just kind of checked out.
Yeah, right. And it's not been their fault. It's just been that's who we are as humans. Number one, too. Like I mean, so and so we get into that realm of going, do you? Yeah, but like you said, you drafted him number one. You've started him. Mm-hmm. Do you set him? I mean, I mean, do you sit there and go, hey, listen? No, I mean, right now, I'm gonna be honest. Does Andy Dalton give them a better chance to win?
Maybe, but I think too, like with Andy Dalton, it depends on the offense that is ran for him too, because when Andy Dalton played that game, the offense felt different. Like, not just because Andy was in there, but because of the play calling too. Like, they were taking more shots down the field.
Right.
So I have to respect you downfield.
Right.
Right. Whereas with Bryce Young, it doesn't feel like, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, they don't take as many shots downfield with Bryce Young. I don't know if easing him in.
Well, I think, and that's the problem too, is a lot of times you get into this realm, DJ, of like, let Bryce be Bryce. Mm-hmm. And I know we get into systems, and I know we get into how you fit into a system and stuff like that. But at some point, let Bryce be Bryce.
It's funny because I was just thinking the same thing. It's, to me, and this is just my opinion on if I was a coach, I probably won't be, but if I was a coach and I had a talent like Bryce Young, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, some of these guys that are out there like that, C.J. Stroud and these guys, I'm going to let them do what they do.
Right.
And then I'm going to cater to them.
Right.
Because that's my guy.
I'm going to build my system around the quarterback and not the quarterback fitting into my system.
Yeah,
and I think that's where, I think it's in the NFL too. That's where you get into a lot of like, and maybe there's a shift a little bit, but it's that realm of going, you talk about players coming into the NFL who are NFL ready because they've played in more of an NFL-like system. And but at the end of the day, let Bryce be Bryce. So I go back to, I can't help but think of Bryce and a younger Russell Wilson. Mm-hmm. Well, when Russell cooked, it's because they let Russell be Russell.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
And it's sad to see what's happening to Russell Wilson right now because I just, like, wow. Talk about a fall from the top. So I think at the end of the day, and we saw it, I don't know during the game this past week whether Frank Reich gave what did we say the offensive coach
Brown,
Brown. Whether he handed him was like, does Frank Reich give up play calling? So
because Frank Reich's never had a guy like Bryce.
No,
he's had his stand in the pocket, make the throws type of quarterback. But then it's weird because with Bryce Young's ability to move around, you would think it would even benefit him more. Right, because you can not only stand in the pocket, but you can move around, work guys open because of that. Because of that threat. So it's weird. It's weird.
I mean, and to me, that's been a big struggle with me in watching the NFL along a lot of times in the last 10 years. So, letting quarterbacks not be who they are, and try to fit them into a system.
Yeah,
I'll go back and people who know me and watch this or whatever. I'm a Titans fan, and I go back to Vince Young, where he turned out to be a complete bust, but I think it was because Vince Young was not going to step back he wasn't Tom Brady where he's going to step back into the pocket and throw.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Vince Young was going to run the football.
Yeah, he was going to be dynamic.
Right.
Yeah,
Cam Newton, I'm sorry, Cam Newton is not a pocket passer.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Newton was Cam Newton because he was Cam.
Yeah.
So
I think with Cam, like, that the special years that we got from Cam was Cam being Cam.
Yes, absolutely. When he won the MVP, right.
Being that freak athlete that he is,
he didn't win the MVP because he was the best quarterback in the league. Mm-hmm. He won the MVP because he was the best player in the league, who was a player.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes you need that, that run accompaniment with an efficient passing game.
Mm-hmm.
I think we fall in love with the fireworks of what we've seen in the passing game as of late. Don't be afraid to be, if you need to be, especially when you're kind of fitting a guy in, we go back to that fitting a guy into a system type situation. Let Miles Sanders run the show. If he's still got that in him, let him run the show, and then build off of that with Bryce Young and his ability.
I think too. Two points real quick. Like, I'd love to see what Andy Reid would do with Bryce Young.
Yeah,
I mean, he lets Patrick Mahomes be Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm getting at? But back to the you mentioned Miles Sanders, stuff like that. The running game is just
It's not
there.
It's not there.
It is not there. And any team that has that running, gets a running game going. And listen, we're in a pass-happy league. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've got a good running game and you're playing a team and they have to cheat their two safeties up because they're worried about the running game,
yeah,
that opens things up for you.
Yeah, and
you can do play action. You can do whatever.
That's true.
And Ryan Tannehill's not the best quarterback in the world, but when you've got Derrick Henry at least making some runs and they got to pull two safeties up,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
but you shut down somebody's running game, and like I said, we don't have it.
Yeah, and I think too, like with a lot of these new offenses right now, Ravens included is another one that I can think of off the top of my head. What's your identity? I don't think the Panthers have one right now.
Oh, no.
I think that's the issue. Like, we don't know if they're run first. We don't know if they're pass first. We don't know if they're spread. We don't know, right?
The Dolphins, we know it's speed and get the ball out.
Get the fastest guy. Get the fastest guys on the field.
You know what you're
getting.
Get
them in space.
That's it. They probably are the fastest team in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what you're getting with the Detroit Lions.
Yep.
You know what you're getting with the Kansas City Chiefs. So you're right. Yep. We don't have, it's sad that you put them and like the Cardinals and even the Bears to a point, although the Bears have looked better. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's just it's just blah.
Yeah. And real quick before we get into the Panthers Dolphins game and how I'm gonna let you stew on this for a minute, but how they can win that game, what's the possibility, how they do it. If you were coaching, how you going to make sure that they somehow, by hook or by crook, win the game? But the interesting part about, because everybody wants to make the comparisons, of course, in the draft class, people want to make the comparisons to C.J. Stroud and to Anthony Richardson because of what they've done. And one of those wins for Anthony Richardson, Anthony Richardson hasn't even finished all of the games that he's played in.
Right.
So some of those wins are credited to him, but, we'll see. But the other thing is the situation. Look at that division. There's young quarterbacks all over the place in that division, right?
Yep, except for Tannehill.
Yeah. He's the only one.
No,
right? Everybody else is 2 or 3. Lawrence is 3 years in.
Yeah.
Everybody else is their rookie year. So it's that's a little bit of an easier road, for lack of a better term, because there's young pieces. So you can you can take a couple more chances than you normally would. And speaking of Trevor Lawrence, remember that Trevor Lawrence, I can't remember if he was the number 1 overall pick, but he was close to it. And Trevor Lawrence wasn't Trevor Lawrence overnight either. The guy we see right now.
Right.
There was struggles and there was growing pains and there was a lot of people saying this guy's been good since high school, but I don't know if this is the guy. So you have to get that instant gratification mindset out of your mind when it comes to these teams, because it does take some time. No, people aren't just coming onto the scene winning Super Bowls, winning playoff games. That's rare.
Right.
That's Brady,
Ben
Wilson, right? Ben. Right, that's a couple of guys in a generation.
See, the bad part right now though is and Anthony Richardson, like you said, I've watched him play or whatever, and I think he's finished 3 of the 5 games he's played, and now he's got a separated shoulder.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. But I mean, C.J. Stroud right now,
he looks good.
He is balling out, and I mean, I don't even know that I can.
I think he's most pass attempts without an interception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, it becomes why? I listen. I my team's in the AFC South. I can't name Houston. I don't even know I don't know who the receivers are.
Yeah.
I don't know who the running back is.
Right.
But he's just getting it done, huh?
Pierce, I think.
Yeah, right. So, he's just getting it done, and is it just?
Once again, are they letting him be himself? And then adding a couple wrinkles here and there my scheme to make him better.
And they're letting Anthony Richardson be Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
He's the closest I've seen to being a Cam Newton.
Yeah. And I think that's what good coaches do, though.
Absolutely.
Right? Look at Kyle Shanahan.
Absolutely.
Brock Purdy is not the greatest quarterback of all time,
but he knows what he's got.
But he knows exactly what he's got. He's gonna take care of the ball.
Right.
He
can be a game manager.
And he
can be the game manager.
Right. He can be a good one.
I mean, you got Debo, you got CMC, you got George Kittle.
Andy Reid was successful with Alex Smith. Alex Smith is not the greatest quarterback of all time either, but
he got the job done.
Yeah. And I think that's a note that people need to take down. Put the egos aside. You have great players because you have great players. Let them be great. Add a little wrinkle. You look like a genius.
No, Jalen Hurts. I mean, he didn't start right away. You know, it's just, you know, and I think what's killing Panther fans right now is, and I want to encourage them, don't second guess it, give it time. But well, listen, we live in a now mentality of like, win now.
Yeah.
Put, you know, tushes in the seats now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm getting at? We want instant gratification.
Yeah.
So, and listen, NFL, and I've talked about this too. You got 17 games.
Mm-hmm.
NBA, you got whatever, 100 and however many.
82.
You know, baseball, you got however many.
Way more than 100.
Right, exactly. But you know what I'm getting at? Like,
Yeah.
you got 17 games.
Yeah.
Every game's important. And I think what's killing Panther fans right now is they see C.J. Stroud and they see Anthony Richardson.
Yep.
And they're like, did we make the right choice?
Yeah.
I would go more on the lines of, did you make the right choice of coach?
Yeah. I mean, because
you had listen.
Eric Bieniemy was out there too, like for an offensive head coach who's had some success in the league. I'm just throwing it out there.
No, I wholeheartedly
and
agree.
Steve Wilks, I think the offense looked better under Steve Wilks, and because Steve Wilks is a defensive coach, he's going to defer to his offensive coordinator and his quarterback because he's a defensive guy.
Right.
So,
agreed.
You know, I understand why they made the decision, but at the same time, real quick before we get into picks, how can the Panthers beat the Dolphins?
Can't. No, listen. You've got to. I mean, it's the same thing that anybody else would have to. You got to slow them down.
Yeah.
And I think the only way you do that is you've got to figure out a way to move the ball on offense. And the way you beat the Miami Dolphins is keep the offense off the field, which means you've got to get a running game going. You've got to get that time of possession working. So try to figure out a way to get your running game going. I mean, just get it going. But we talk about the deep shots downfield and stuff like that. I think if you can, you know, keep the ball maybe short. Maybe it's the dump off. Maybe it's the shorter routes. Keep the ball in play, get your first downs, and win time of possession. You got to win time of possession, you know, and keep the Dolphins. Turnovers, I've seen teams commit 4 turnovers and still win a football game.
Yeah.
And I think it's that time of possession. Listen, and your D. Listen, the D's solid. I think the D can get the job done.
Oh yeah. They're good.
You know, but you're playing a different beast. You know, and Tua, and you know Tyreek Hill and what you got going on there. So, time of possession, keep them off the field.
With the Dolphins, my biggest thing is make them work to get down the field,
right?
Because they're a team that they're so fast they can get in space and it's over. Don't let them get in space. Right. Be right there on them, and at the same time, that doesn't mean step up there and play press coverage against Tyreek Hill. That means step back.
Oh yeah.
Right. That means step back. Give them a little bit of room. Work them to the sidelines. Like, you know, use the field to your advantage.
Right.
I think that's the biggest thing. It's like, you know, kind of like you said, slow them down. I think they are going to have to establish some sort of a running game. But also, even in the previous games too, what I've been seeing is the Panthers are making their way down the field. They're just not scoring when they get there, or they're scoring 3.
Right. You can't. Well, against the Dolphins, you can't have field goals.
Yeah.
You got to get in the end zone.
And where is Hayden Hurst? Where is Hayden Hurst?
But is that a coaching deal?
You know, like that. Like, you're signing these guys for a reason. Use them. Right. Like Hayden Hurst, I think first game of the season was the most targeted player on the Panthers team, and then ever since then it's kind of dried up. And I don't think.
Listen,
I'm a Hayden Hurst guy. I don't think it's Hayden Hurst.
Oh, no. Listen, I watched him play at South Carolina. I mean, I love the guy to death. And the gist is, every team that is successful right now, or quarterbacks that have been successful, you know what I'm getting at, has had that tight end they go to.
Yep.
I mean, is Patrick Mahomes even doing anything this year without Travis Kelce?
It's going to be tough, especially after you lose Tyreek Hill.
Or should I say Travis Kelce Swift? Sorry.
Right, yeah, the Swiftie.
All right, hold on. Can I just go off topic here for just a second? Because I got to vent. Stop showing Taylor Swift.
It's for the ratings. It's for the ratings.
That game, I don't know which one it was. The first game that she showed up at, and NBC did like 15 cuts. Stop it. Stop it. Anyway, there's my rant for the day.
Jeff Taylor, I'm just going to be honest, Jeff Taylor's not a Swiftie.
No, I'm not a Swiftie.
That might be the quote of the video, regardless of the football. Regardless of the football. Jeff Taylor's not a Swiftie.
I'm not. That's okay. But what I'm getting at is, you know, like the tight end to me has always been the safety valve.
Yes.
For quarterbacks. I mean, you can go with Cam Newton and Greg Olsen. You know, I can go Travis Kelce, and Mahomes. You can go Purdy and Kittle. I mean, the list goes on and on. Mm-hmm. Get him in.
Yeah.
It's another weapon.
Yeah, it's a tall weapon. You can throw it high.
Right.
Give him at least give him a chance. If he starts dropping the ball, that's a whole different story. But give him a chance.
99% of the time, those tight ends in the NFL know their job is to go find a safe spot that the quarterback can dump it to.
Yeah.
So use that to your advantage. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know where he's been. It's weird.
Yeah. And like I said, I think watching Bryce Young in the pocket and even having to move around a little bit, for me, I felt like Bryce Young looks good in spurts, right? He has some drives where you're just like, this guy looks really good. If they could hold up in protection, right? If this offense was maybe catered a little bit more to what he does, I think there could be something here.
And it just is. I think it's to the point of we just need one complete game.
Yeah. If
we can get that under our belts,
yeah.
Can things turn on a dime in the NFL? Yes.
And the NFL season is not defined by 1 week by no means. But if you find a way to or 6 weeks, yeah.
Right. No.
If you find a way to beat the Dolphins, there are going to be some frowns turned upside down.
Game, and at the end of the day, listen, it is the NFL, and they're paid professionals. And would it shock me if they went in and did it? In the NFL in today's world, no. Yeah. Nothing really shocks me anymore, if that makes sense. There are times that I walk around, I'm going, what just happened? How did that team beat? It happens almost every week.
How the Cardinals beat the Cowboys?
Yeah. I mean, there you go. Yeah. Cowboys, that's a different. We could go for hours on that.
I don't know. I still don't know what they are. Are they good or are they not?
They live and breathe. Well, I'll make some more people mad. Dak Prescott is a great quarterback, except when he's put in must-win situations.
Okay, I can see that.
When he has to prove himself, i.e., this past Sunday night against
he gets a little he gets a little Tony Romo-esque,
and it's all going right there. Yeah. You know what I'm getting at? It's the head thing. I mean, like he gets in, and he has become now that quarterback that's like, this is the game that I need to prove that I can, I can beat this team. I can do this. You throw 3 interceptions.
Yeah, that's true.
Against Brock Purdy.
Right.
I mean, people don't take Dak Prescott versus Brock.
Right.
But does it come down to system?
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. Let's jump into these picks, and then we'll get on out of here.
Okay.
Right. So, Thursday Night Football, Denver Broncos at Kansas City Chiefs. I want to go with the upset, I do, but Denver is just...
Denver's a train wreck. I can't do it. I would love to, and
broken my trust too many times.
I can't. I just that. Now that could be a game that they get it all together. I don't know. And listen, the Chiefs are beatable.
Oh yeah,
the Chiefs are beatable. There's no question about that. But I just don't see Denver walking into that.
And that's why I don't give into this narrative of no team is unbeatable, because a lot of people are like, oh, they're unstoppable. And then you have, so for example, the Dolphins against Denver, and then the Dolphins against the Bills.
Right.
Team,
right. No, I mean, so it's like Josh Allen at the beginning of the year did not look really good, and now all of a sudden he's playing ball. So which Josh Allen do you get?
Yep.
So maybe if it was at Denver, but going into Arrowhead, I just can't see it.
Yeah. I think, I thought Denver would be the team to not dethrone Kansas City, but make some noise a little bit, make it hard on them. But I just can't trust Denver right now. They're too sloppy of a team. I can't trust it.
And it's sad to see the demise of Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
I just see a guy who's honestly, I think he's broken.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know why.
And can he
figure it out?
When he left Seattle, and I think there's more there to Russell Wilson than we know in terms of they're just.
Because my thing is with Russell, I think he's a nice guy. I think mentally it frustrates him when people don't like him.
Oh, absolutely. But the gist has become too. Russell went to that point of he was a ball player for a few years.
Yeah.
Then he got into kind of more of the entertainer, and so who knows?
Yeah, Kansas City wins that game.
Yeah, Kansas City wins that one.
Here comes a battle. Here comes a battle here. 9:30 a.m. Get up early, get your coffee in. London.
I'm going to church.
Right, I know, right?
I better go to church. May not be. This is gonna be me at church. Wife will be like, put down your phone.
Baltimore at Tennessee. My thing is with Baltimore, which Baltimore team shows up. But I think at the same time, like, this is one of those games where Baltimore would come out flat. It's in London. It's at 9:30. It's early. It's weird. I got a whole other thought or process on the London games for us American fans at least. But I'll let you give your pick and I'll ask you about it. But I'm going Baltimore. I think Baltimore rarely loses 2 games in a row, and I think this is kind of a get right game for them even in London.
Yeah, as a Oiler Titans fan for 50 years, it's Jekyll and Hyde. Which team's going to show up? And I'll put it to you this year. Now this year, the odd weeks have been horrible. The even weeks have been great.
Yeah.
We beat LA. We beat the Chargers. We beat the Bengals.
Yeah.
Now we got the Ravens in week 6.
Mm-hmm.
I can't buy into Tennessee's defense right now in terms of their secondary. Just giving up too many things. And listen, Lamar.
I think the Ravens beat themselves more than any other team ever beat them.
I would
That's
agree.
the crazy part about it.
But would it surprise me for Tennessee to come along and beat them? No. And as much as it just kills me to say it, I think Tennessee's at that point now where you don't want to start thinking rebuilding. But listen, Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, the king. Is he on his final leg? So could they do it? Yes. Do I think they will? No. I think I gotta go Baltimore.
The real question is, will the Ravens drop 10 passes? Will the
probably not
10 balls this week?
They should. Listen, the Titans' front four are stout. Jeffrey Simmons and all those guys up front are stout. That's a game that I think you could flip a coin.
Yeah.
But I think Baltimore with Lamar,
especially in London, the London aspect of it, I think gives it that much more of a who knows.
Oh no, yeah. I think the whole Titans thing. It's the, actually Tajay Spears has gotten more carries than Derrick Henry the last 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
A young, dynamic, quick kid who can run the football. So, I don't know, but yeah, as much as I hate to say it, I think Baltimore.
And while you guys are obviously following along and picking it at home as well, I got a question for you all. I got a question for Jeff. 9:30 game, a little bone to pick with the 9:30 London game. 9:30 here. If I looked it up correctly, it's like 3:30 or something.
In the afternoon, yeah.
In the afternoon in London. Why?
Why not do a night game?
Right. Why not do a night game?
Well,
American fans can actually watch it at a decent time.
Okay, but think if you're a Titans or Ravens fan and you live in L.A.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Then it's 6:30 in the morning.
It gets even worse, doesn't it? I guess they're trying to find the happy medium.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's 9:30 here, but it's 6:30 on the West Coast.
Oh, yeah.
So you're talking L.A. fans are watching it at 6:30 in the morning.
It's funny because Richard, one of my guys that I work with, he's a soccer fan.
Right.
So he ends up getting up early to watch soccer stuff because that's when it comes on.
It's just weird. Like we watched this past week, or actually last night. I don't know when your podcast will get it out or whatever. But like we watched App State and Coastal Carolina last night, which was a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
There's just certain times that aren't meant to be football. As much as I love football, the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I get. Mm-hmm. Tuesday, Wednesday.
They're trying to
9:30 in the morning. No. So there we
go. Washington at Atlanta. Can't figure out if either one of these teams are really that good. I'm gonna go Washington to try to keep pace with the East.
I go Washington. Yeah. I think their D will set the tone there.
Desmond Ridder. I just don't know.
He's hot and cold.
Yeah, I just don't know. So, Minnesota at Chicago, a very interesting game after the Thursday night game that Chicago had, and Minnesota cannot find a way to get out of their own way because Detroit is running away with that division.
Yeah,
quick, fast, and in a hurry. But Chicago's trying to find their way back in it.
I think Chicago finds their way back in it. Minnesota just I'm not sold on Kirk Cousins, and I just think as the season progresses, Justin Fields has heard enough about how bad that organization is. I think they're going to start making some noise, and so I think Chicago wins that one.
Also, no Justin Jefferson for 4 weeks because I think they did put him on IR.
They
so
put
that
him on
hurts
IR.
too.
That hurts.
Considering they couldn't win games with him, so I think that's a big deal. I think Jordan Addison has a chance to kind of step up a little bit as a rookie, but we'll see. I'm going Chicago too, by the way. Seattle at the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going Seattle.
I'm going Seattle.
Seattle.
I just
I think the Bengals are hot and cold too.
they've I know they got to win, but I don't know. There's just something not right there. Until they get their act together. Maybe it's Zach Taylor. I don't know. Is Joe Burrow completely healthy? But I just think Seattle overall is a more complete team.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Seattle. Are they coming off a bye week? I think so.
Yes, Seattle's coming off.
I think coming off a bye week, I think they'll be able to kind of find their way again. And I think even on the road, I think they find a way to.
I
get
agree.
this win. I think so. San Francisco at Cleveland. Will Deshaun Watson be back? I don't know right off the top of my head. I'm gonna go San Francisco.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I think Cleveland will get better as the season goes along, but I think they have to find a way to get better now.
Yes, and that's a tough one to try to right any ship or whatever. You got to go.
The New Orleans Saints at the Houston Texans. Interesting game. I think Houston wins this game.
I think Houston gets the win.
I know New Orleans is supposed to be the impressive team out of the NFC South and all that, but I'm not impressed.
No.
I'm more impressed by what Houston's doing.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
I mean, Houston to me right now would have to be the talk of the town in terms of the NFL. I think they got to be at least one of them in terms of teams that probably weren't expected to do anything.
Yeah.
You got a chance to go what? I guess they could go 4-2 or something. So yeah, I mean, I like them.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with that one. Indy at Jacksonville, little division game. Indianapolis does not win in Jacksonville. I think that's the thing. I think it's one of those situations where for whatever reason, doesn't matter how good Indy is,
right?
Doesn't matter how bad Jacksonville is, and Jacksonville's actually decent.
We got the mustache quarterbacking for Indy, Gardner Minshew. So
he's playing.
I know. I mean, listen, you're talking about a guy who can get a job done. Jonathan Taylor didn't look real impressive week coming back.
I could see Minshew though becoming a starter later on, maybe not for the Colts, but Geno Smith situation, right? Where he takes a little bit of time off. He's still like a backup, around, but he can, he gets his opportunity, he takes it.
But the interesting part is Jacksonville has not been good at home.
Yeah,
that's the scary part. If they not, to me, it's a toss up. I'm gonna go Jacksonville, but I think it's when you can flip a coin 100 times.
I'm gonna go Indy because I think Jonathan Taylor's gonna find his way back. I just think Jonathan Taylor's been off for 4 weeks.
Oh yeah,
So
exactly.
I think he's gonna find his way back, but I just think and Zach Moss is a good. He's looked really good. So having that 1-2 punch of them, with your backup quarterback, I think will be pretty good. The New England Patriots at the Vegas Raiders. I'm going with the Raiders because I just think the Patriots are chopped liver. They're done. Put it away. Send them to number 1 pick land. Whatever you got to do.
I think Bill Belichick and Mac Jones are both done in New England.
Okay.
Mac Jones is a disaster.
Mac Jones is, yeah.
A disaster.
Belichick's always hard to say anything bad about, but it's has the time come?
Yes, the time has come.
Is it time for a new regime?
Well, I think the question was always out there: who made who? Did Brady make Belichick, or did Belichick make Brady? I think we know the answer to that question.
Because Mac Jones ain't it.
Because Mac Jones ain't it, and Tom Brady, won a Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. Yeah. To me, that is I take the Raiders all day.
Speaking of Tampa Bay, we got Detroit at Tampa Bay.
Baker Mayfield is kind of balling.
Hey. I'm just saying.
I mean, Baker listen. Of course he would.
Of course, yeah.
Why would he not? He'll take the Bucks to he'll take them to the playoffs. Now, you know what? It would not surprise me to see the Bucks pull this one out.
I think so too. I think the Bucks, as good as they've looked in strides, they still got a lot to prove.
Yep.
Right. I think Detroit, to a certain degree, does too, because they're Detroit. People are gonna put that stigma on them. So I think Detroit still feel like they got a lot to prove. I think Tampa Bay does too, but I think Tampa Bay is gonna prove it in this game.
But Detroit too. Dan Campbell's done fantastic.
Oh yeah.
And I think he'll have them. He has them ready to play every week. They're going to be a tough out no matter who they play. And he's it wouldn't surprise me that he's got them fired up going there. But I think Tampa's got something going.
Mm-hmm. Arizona at LA, the Rams version of LA. I think the spark with Arizona beating teams and getting these random wins, I think it's over.
I agree.
In a division game too, I think the Rams are good. I don't think the Rams are nearly as good as they were when they won the Super Bowl, but I think the Rams are good.
Is Cooper back?
Cooper
Cup's
back.
back. Yeah. So I think you're gonna. Yeah, I think the Rams. I think they win that one.
I think the Rams are not great right now, but I think they'll find their way.
Right. Agreed.
Philadelphia Eagles at the New York Jets. I think the Eagles win this game. I don't think the Eagles are nearly as good as they were just last year, but I don't trust the Jets. Can't trust the Jets. I trust the Eagles to find a way more than I trust the Jets to win this game.
I think they can pull an upset. I think the Jets can win. If they keep it close. I think if they keep it close. Look at that. I think if they keep it close. I'll pick the Jets. I think this is one of those. I think this is one of those games that people Monday morning will be going, "What just happened?" I'm going with that. Okay. I'll pull one out there.
Okay. The New York Giants at the Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo.
This could be one of the Battle of New York here. This could be one of those. They look back Monday morning and say, I don't know. Like I said, I said it last week. I was probably going to say it through the rest of the season. The Giants have broken my trust for the last time. I don't know if I can truly pick them, but I do hope they win this game because I want them to be successful. For whatever reason, they just don't want to. They don't want to do it for me. I root for them. I'm like, okay, this is the Giants' time. Dallas, they look kind of You know, like the Eagles, they're going to be good, but they won't be as good. So this is their time. Nope.
Hang with Buffalo. Put pressure on Josh Allen, and see what happens.
Yeah.
Because they're going to beat you throwing the ball. Buffalo's going to beat you throwing the ball. They're not going to beat you running the ball.
That's
so
true. Yeah.
Just see what you can
do. I don't know why, and like I said, I'm not an NFL coach, so I don't get it. But why is Buffalo so hard to stop then? If they have no running game,
right,
and you know what they're going to do, like I get they have talent.
Well, it's the same thing with Miami. I mean, just slow down Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, but now they got
put two guys up.
But now they got Waddle and
I know. Yeah,
I mean Claypool if he wants to show up to play.
But who does Buffalo have?
Diggs, Gabe Davis. Their running game has gotten better though with Cook.
But that's kind of I haven't seen a whole lot of that. That's been interesting. But I'd love to see Daniel Jones go in there and beat him. Yes. To me, anytime an NFC team plays an AFC team, I'm rooting for the NFC. But
right, yeah.
But I'm gonna go Buffalo.
I'm gonna go Buffalo too. But don't be surprised, okay? Do not be surprised if Monday morning we're talking back here and we say the Giants did it.
We think one of the surprises will be the Jets, the New York teams, whether it's
one
the Jets
of the New York teams. They make an upset. The New York teams, they making a splash. Okay. That's how I'm feeling. Monday Night Football, we got the Dallas Cowboys at the Los Angeles Chargers. I think Dallas bounces back because the Chargers can't win games. They can't consistently come out here and win games. They can't do it.
Brandon Staley can't get out of his own way. I mean, come on. You've got all the talent in the world there. Yeah. Get it done. I mean, coach and to me that's all coaching right there with the Chargers. Mm-hmm. I'm a little concerned about Dallas in this game. Monday night against the Chargers.
Chargers are a good defense, too.
Everything to prove. Do you know what I'm getting at? Here we go. This is where Dak's got to go out and go, listen, I got to ball out.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been good in those situations. So I think the Chargers win.
I'm going Dallas.
All right.
I'm going Dallas.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. I got faith. I shouldn't.
I mean, they should, yes. But we'll see.
I think
it's all going to come down.
Mike McCarthy outcoaches Brandon Staley.
Well, yeah, that I can see, yes. But Dak Prescott, you better step up.
Trey Lance is waiting. He's waiting in the wing. He's waiting in the wing.
That would be interesting.
But definitely hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know what your picks were below. Jeff, I appreciate you coming by.
You got it, man.
As always fun.
It's always a good time.
Fun. I don't know how
we tick people off.
You know what? I don't know how we ended up on Baltimore, Tennessee, together like this. So that's the ironic part of all of this is how this ended up. But I'll be.
I'm hoping it's an upset, but
I hope I'll be able to check on you next week. You won't be checking on me. So, but definitely hope you guys enjoyed the show. This was the Keep Prowling Podcast. Make sure, once again, the Keep Prowling Podcast is everywhere. You can also find the 704 High School Highlight on all your major podcasting platforms. So be sure to check that out and Delaney Little Show as well. So check them all out. Make you a queue. You can have a little bit of everything. I mean, if you want NFL, you want a little high school, you want a little bit of Delano is a little bit of everything.
Delano does a little bit of everything.
You'll get everything you've ever wanted in a whole podcast playlist right there.
Absolutely.
So be sure to check us out.
You're doing a great job, man.
Thank you.
Great things, man. Great podcast.
But as always, we'll see you guys on the next one. For Jeff Taylor, this is DJ Beal. This has been the Keep Prowling Podcast. Are there any Panthers topics that you want to hear us talk about? Let us know in the comments below.